Hey guys, Sean Bougie, surplusfundsriches.net. One of the things I always, or rather have recently been doing is forgetting to tell you guys my phone number. If you have questions, please go to the website first, surplusfundsriches.net. You'll also see a handout here shortly. That will have, you can go to the products page on our website, surplusfundsriches.net, and you'll see an insider's guide, but I'm about to make this. Let's see here. Hold on a second. Sorry, guys. I have to re-upload it. There's a handout I'm going to give you. It's an overview of our program, our basic National Surplus Funds program, but it also has a lot more information you're going to like on it, pricing, a lot of information you can use. So I'm going to share this right now. Chat is enabled, so let me take a look here. If you guys can, hey, Efrain, Rochelle, hi. Can you guys hear and see me okay? Let me know. There's the whole layout on my end is completely different than normal. So somebody out there, let me know they can hear and see me okay. That'll be good. Awesome. Thank you, David. All right, guys, I'm going to turn, well, I'll tell you what, I'm just going to keep chat on for now. Hey, Charles, thanks. Danny, thank you very much. All right. One of the questions we had, because I put a video up about this. Hey, thank you, Manna. Okay, guys, no need to tell me. I know you guys can hear and see me. All right. So one of the questions we got online when I was talking about this webinar and saying, hey, it's important that you guys participate. Let me know if there's something you want me to cover in the webinar. One of the questions, thank you, Manna. One of the questions that came up was, hey, I've got a list, and you'll see this, guys, on occasion where you get a list and all it has is the dollar amount of the overage, maybe the name, not always, of the person. I've actually seen the dollar amount of the overage and just a PIN number, also called an APN number, also called a PID number, parcel ID number, parcel identification number. APN is something parcel number. And she said she had a list like that. And I actually addressed it on that when she did that on YouTube. I addressed it on there. It's not hard, guys, to work backwards if all you have is a list with, it's got to have a dollar amount, guys. You don't know what you're going after, right? But if you have a list with a dollar amount and just a PIN number, and you know the county, obviously, it's from, you can open up the county tax collector and usually search that PIN number or APN number or PID number. They're called a number of different things. You can search by that to get the address, usually a link through the for the deed for the last owner prior to the sale. There's a ton of information on there. You can backward engineer it very, very easily. And then you can also, if that does not work for you, use the GIS, Geographical Information Systems, the county's GIS system. And they usually have a really good search function on there that you can use to look up. You can look up the APN number and get more information. Last owner, a lot of information, usually direct deed links, and of course the address of the property. We had another question was, are you taking raw land? And guys, I'm not ignoring you. I see your questions. Are you taking raw land? And the answer is that's on the resources page. We are not taking raw land currently. We will take property where it was a house and it burned down because it's got our utility hookups at the street usually. So we have no issue with that. But raw land is not something we really want to get into. Jeff, interrupt me and tell me if I'm wrong with that. It has, if it has to be, waterfront or something, then it's okay. But to my knowledge, raw land is not something we're taking at this point. Frank, how often are you going to do these webinars, or is there a set schedule? Actually, Frank, I was talking to Jeff about that. And I think we've been doing every other week. So it's going to come down to the participation that we have. If we have a lot of participation, we have no problem coming in here every other week. But we're looking at either that or once a month. Also, and this is my fault, not Jeff's, on the website, surplusfundsriches.net. If you go there, you'll see, usually I believe there's a webinars tab. And I just have not been giving him advance notice on or the links in advance for him to put those up there. So that's completely my fault. All right, guys. I think that's all I'm going to cover. Oh, let me put my phone number on here. So listen, there should be a file handout. Please take that, guys. If you're seeing this on a replay on YouTube or through a link, obviously you're not going to be able to download. Hey Tim, you're not going to be able to download the file transfer. It's just not going to be available for you. But those of you guys that are on here right now, you should see where you can download a file attachment. It's called a webinar handout. Pick that up. There's a lot of useful information. After you've read that, because it details the programs for those of you guys that haven't started up with us yet, after you've read that, get in touch with us. If you have any further questions, my name is Sean Bougie. I'm at 704-791-9398. You're going to get a replay. Don't freak out. 704, tell you what, let me put this on here to everybody. Hopefully you'll be able to see it because we're in private mode right now. I'm going to set a sticky message. Let's see. Here we go. Guys, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Monday through Friday, Eastern time. Sticky note that's on there. All right, guys, this is the chance for you guys to just throw out questions. I know we got a lot going on right now, but here's the main thing I want everybody to remember, if nothing else. Okay, end of November, we stop selling our programs. Okay, end of this month, you're going to have to wait till January 1st. We do that to give our crew a break. We do that to allow us to reset if we've got a new program coming out the following year, in January. We do that for a number of reasons, and we've been doing that for years. December, you will not be able to buy our program, any of our programs. So I need to be upfront about that so you guys realize that. Okay. Is there a phone number on the website? Oops. Yeah, that's new. That's right there. But yeah, Frank, it's actually on the website. It's in the handout you can download. My number's all over the internet. I just ask that you please call between 9 and 1 and that you please read the handout or read, if you go to the products page on our website, that's also linked in that handout, surplusfundsriches.net. If you click on products and sign in, scroll down to the bottom, there's an overview down there. You can also download that there. How do I know if the funds are still available to go after? Anna Ganter. It tells you right in the ebook. You can confirm a couple things. If the list is a certain age. Oh, there you go. Jeff's got the webinar handout also on surplusfundsriches.net webinars. Okay. How do you know if they're Anna Ganter? I thought you bought, because it says right in the book, there's a couple ways. Now, if it's a certain age, the list, in other words, it's very, very recent, we're not as concerned about that. However, it's easy. You can call the court. You can email the court. You can, that's basically it. You got to get in touch with somebody to double check it's still being held. Unless it's a really new list, that's covered on the resources page, and I believe in the ebook too. Though I'm sure Jeff will chime in if I got that wrong, because he does the front line and the underwriting, so he knows the front line better than I do. And that's why when I get calls from folks after they buy, I go, "Hey, look, the book says don't call me. Get in touch with Jeff using the support email system." That's because Jeff knows it better than I do, and because if I give you the answer, I'm going to screw it up. Do you know roughly percentage of people that accept deed flips from your experience? Estefania, I don't. And I'll tell you why. First of all, it's kind of a moving number. For instance, North Carolina has a better conversion rate than the other states, because in North Carolina, the auction date is actually not a drop dead date. North Carolina, we have a 10-day upset bid rule. So when somebody hits the initial bid, the next bidder has up to 10 days to make a next bid, and so on and so on. So it can go, we've seen them go 6 months out. We've seen them go a year out, but they keep bidding on that same property back and forth as long as it's within the 10-day upset bid. And we can still go after it as a deed flip. We can still buy the property from the owner, pay off the taxes to stop the sale, and we own the property. Now we can go flip it. So That percentage is a weird, that's a really hard question for me, Estefania. It's a really hard question for me simply because it varies area to area. It varies with the time of year. One thing I will tell you, and Jeff warns people about this too. Look, once you start getting into the 250 range and up, even 200,000 range and up, nobody's going to lose a $200,000 house over a $5,000 tax bill. Okay. So it's going to probably be redeemed. That's why we say go after the low dollar stuff, because look, you go after a house that the taxes say is worth 100, it's probably actually worth 200. And let's say there's 30 in debt and I can get it from the owner from 50 and we can flip it in its current condition for $100,000 or even more. There's a $50,000 profit there, regardless of which deed flip program you're using. You're making a lot. That's $7,500 to $15,000. So stay away from that max end. I know a lot of people like to do that, and that's just not, it's not worth your time, but people are going to redeem it. No one is going to lose a $250,000 house over $5,000. They're not. They're going to redeem it. In other words, it's going to pay off the taxes. So meanwhile, we've been trying to get in touch with them. It's a waste of time. 90% of the time, you send it in, we'll work it. But if you want to be smart about it, that's my main advice for the deed flip stuff. Keep coming, guys. Let's get some more questions in here. I guess I got that right because Jeff didn't correct me yet here. Oh, this is a great question from David. I know you use PayPal. Can I pay half with a credit card and half with a debit card? Guys, if you need to do that, I'm going to make two things. I'm going to make two things very clear. So I need to know, obviously, I need to know what you want to buy, what bundle or what book. So send me an email. Just go to surplusfundsriches.net. Download this handout, guys, so you have it. Go to surplusfundsriches.net. Should be a contact us there, something like that. So if you go there and contact me, tell me what you want to, what you want to get, how much to put on each card, and send that out, and I'll send you an invoice for each card. Now, listen, I've had people get angry about this before. You need to understand the way this is going to work. Let's say you were splitting up, that's the best bundle, 847. So you said, I want 447 on one and 400 on the other. I'm going to send an invoice for each one. I am not sending anything out until we get both paid. And the other thing is there's usually a drop dead on the invoices. They're quick invoices I send. There's usually a drop dead of 48 hours. So if you don't make the purchase, it starts from scratch. And, there's a limit to how much I'm going to do with that. So I got no problem doing it. That's a really good question. And just like I said, let me know what you want to buy and how to split it between the cards. Don't give me your credit card numbers, anything else. I'm going to send you an electronic invoice that you can play with the credit card. Okay. Is there a mechanism in place to work remotely effectively? That all of our systems work online from home. So yes. David, I want to start as a researcher. I'm new. Should I start with the National Surplus Funds? David, depends on what you got. That's a great program. If you guys saw the video, I hope you saw the video that I put in the email when I announced this. That's a real email. That's a real guy. He tells you who he is, everything. He made $10,000 in a single check. Now, that was a $100,000 deal and a $25,000 deal. Our attorney in that particular state happened to get them both out at the same time. So I wired it to him. And I trust the guy and I know who he is. So he was using National Surplus Funds and he made a lot of money on the 8%. So if that's all you can afford, which is plenty, and that also teaches you how to do it on your own, that's a great start. If you can afford it, I'd probably get the gold bundle just because I think it has both stepping stones for deed flip and surplus funds, and it has the Florida program. It's $997. It's more money. But guys, we're going up on all of this come next year. So do not play around if you're on the fence. Steph is good. Okay, will there be 30 for 30 program in Florida? Nope. The deed flip 30 is not applicable in Florida. That's a separate program. Antonio, wonder how long. And by the way, guys, you can get the gold bundle has the Florida stuff in it. The best has in it, and so does the platinum, of course, because that has pretty much everything. Antonio, wondering how long it usually takes to get deals under contract. Antonio, from when you submit, the vast majority of the deals, depending on how many you send too, if you send 3 in and you sit back and go, I'm going to wait till Sean gets a deal together, statistically, that's not a good play. But wondering how long it takes. Usually it takes a month to get a deal under contract because we're going to call them and mail them. And they're finally going to call us back and agree to meet them, or will agree to have us send the mobile notary to them. Mobile notary will sign and get it back to us. That whole thing takes about a month. Multiple calls, emails. Finally, they're gonna get in touch with us, and of course we mail them too. At that point, we're going to use an attorney, even if it's an area that says they don't require it. We always use attorneys. We think if you don't use an attorney, you're an idiot in this business. The attorney is going to take a month to either get on the docket or get the forms into the correct department. It'll take another month at that point for them to grant it and pay it out. That's the norm. There's certain areas that seem to be a little bit faster. There's others that are a whole lot slower. We had Philadelphia was a nightmare. It took, good Lord. We were literally, I'm not kidding, guys, and I'm not trying to be smart aleck. We were concerned our claimant was going to die. It took like a year and a half because they have a weird program, defendant asset recovery team. Anyway, it was Byzantine. It was a horrible nightmare. All right, let's see. Good evening, Sean. Thank you, B. Did I read that you guys are not accepting any more memberships? What does that mean? Howard, we're not selling anything in December. This is the last month until January 1st that you can get in with us. We're still working anything that's turned in from our guys that have already bought or buy through the end of this month, but we're not going to bring new people on board in December for any of our programs. Janice, how do you find state by state how long surplus funds are available after the auction and before it S-sheets to the state? Good question, Janice. Honestly, one of the things we've got some of the stuff broken down for you on the ebook, but we always tell you to go to state statutes. It's not hard. Use the 3 different names, right? Use overages, use tax overages, whatever you're working, but excess funds, excess proceeds, surplus funds, use all of those and put in, and then follow that with statutes and then the name of the state. And you're going to get literally all the direct statutes on that state to find that out. Another thing would be, and I know a lot of you guys are afraid to call people, which is kind of silly. You're afraid to call the court, I should say. There is no black helicopter flying over the court waiting to arrest you. Okay. They're there to help you out. They're not going to question your motive. Call them and say, hey, how long do call the clerk's office. Usually you're not going to talk directly to the clerk or whoever handles that particular county, that the money in that county. And just ask them and they'll tell you 9 times out of 10. Frank, can you please go over the protocol to go through when you go on the website for the first time? Frank, are you asking how you buy? Go to surplusfundsriches.net. Click on products. It'll prompt you to put your name and email in. Do that. It'll drop you on our products page. I bought the national deed flip last December. I have not done anything yet. Will I need to purchase the same program again, or can I use the one I already have? B, you can use the same one you got, B. Jeff, I'll tell you what, we're going to start charging memberships. If these guys are going to buy it and let it set for a year. Michael, Sean, tonight you mentioned lists. I thought we generate our own leads and prospects on our own, not by buying a list from someone. I never said to buy a list, Michael. Think about it. Why would someone generate a useful list and then sell it? Exactly, Michael. I mentioned backward engineering lists, Mike. What I was saying is occasionally you're going to run into a list. We tell you to go get your own list. Because you're right. Why would we just disperse one list of 20 people? You go get your own list. However, some people have run across lists where all they have is the name, and it's called an either APN number or a PIN number or a PID number. That's parcel identification number, parcel ID number, or APN. In that case, you can go to the tax department, plug that in, and you'll get address, because usually it's very rarely you find this, but you'll get address, name of the last owner, and you've got a place to start. That's all I was saying, Mike. Manna, once you start working with someone, what's to say they won't work behind you to get all the funds themselves? Okay, Manna, one of the things you don't understand, these are really good questions. That's why we use an attorney, and we don't get a power of attorney to us. We get a power of attorney to our attorney, and no one's going to do that to an attorney. We also use a buyout. So if someone's on 40 grand within 2 weeks after they sign my document, or rather when I get it back anyway, it's overnighted from the mobile notary. But within 2 weeks, I'm giving them 10% up front as good faith money. And then the rest of whatever we agree to, usually another 40 to 50% when I successfully get the money out. So, and the way that reads is, hey, this is good faith money. It's non-refundable. However, if you try to go around us, you owe us the money back. Guess what? To get the money, they spend it. Also, they're not going to go around that attorney. They're just not. Horace, if you can't find the sheriff's deed on the Register of Deeds website for national surplus funds, can you accept the proof of auction sales paperwork that is in? No, absolutely not, Horace. There's always a deed. There's always a deed transferring that. Okay, so I'm probably wrong about that. There's probably 1 or 2 states I'm wrong. So I'll let Jeff chime in. But you need to contact support for that. Go to in your ebook, it tells you how to do that. Contact Jeff. I'm going to bail on that and not take responsibility for that answer. Tim, hey guys, I bought the whole program, pure gold information. Thank you, Tim. Frank says, thank you. G, can you please go over low-hanging fruit for deed flip again? G, try to go out after stuff that's worth $100,000 or less. That's the simplified thing with that. You don't want to go after our maximum amount simply because a $250,000 homeowner is not going to lose that home over $5,000 in taxes. They're not. So it's a waste of time. They're going to redeem it at the last minute. In other words, pay off their bill to stop the foreclosure. It's a waste of time. Stay on the lower end. That's all that was. What is the best program for pre-REOs and REO? Do you know this is a good market to get into now? Do you think this is good? It's a fantastic market, Mark. As far as REOs, it's my understanding that's real estate owned. In other words, it's bank owned property. We don't deal with that. Pre-REOs, I'm assuming you mean pre-auction, and that would be National Deed Flip or Deed Flip 30. Those are the programs that rock that. Denny, when surplus funds files are accepted, what is the percentage that are worked, and what are the reasons they cannot collect the surplus? So we work all of them, Denny. And one of the things we started doing, this is kind of a good question because it leads me into something else. One of the things that I told people before was, hey, listen, depending on where you are, if it's a state where a lot of people retire in, if the people die, okay, if someone dies and they're the only person on the deed, and unless you can find a will or an executor of that probate, that estate file, we can't work it. So we've started to tell people now, as soon as you turn in with National Deed Flip, first thing we do, it gets underwritten by Jeff, and then boom, we run an IDI on it. That's who we use as Skip Tracer, IDI data. Can't find anything there, we'll try Microbilt. Fantastic program. And by the way, guys, microbilt.com, MICROBILT. There's no U in built. BILT.com. Go there. Call that phone number, Randy Mostetler. He'll let you sign up with zero sign up expense up front. That's $200 if you mention my name, Sean Bougie, or Greater Good Company. But we work all of them, Danny, and we hit them really hard. Reasons you can't collect, they're dead. They're already working with someone else. They've already gotten the money. Pretty straightforward. Vanessa, I haven't yet, but I am. How long do you estimate it will take me to get through the training materials for national surplus funds? Vanessa, I don't know what you mean if you bought it or not, but I mean, national surplus funds is about a 50-page book, 50, 60 pages. And then there's a link to video training. I've had people turn stuff in a day or two. So that's up to how fast you can read, what your comprehension is on that. I'm not making fun of anybody. I'm just saying how quickly you can read through the program for comprehension. What is the name of your new program for January? Rochelle, we're going to discuss that next month because we're not quite done with it. Frank, I let mine sit for a year. Can you please send me my info email again or direct me where to get started? My contact info is Frank Finley. Sorry, shouldn't have said that out loud. All right, at least I'm not going to give the rest of the information. Hey, Frank, just send me an email on that. But listen, all you got to do, I always send the initial content to you, and that has a link with a generated password that's inside of that ebook that links straight to the resources page. So it was probably sent from my email address, the _results_team@yahoo.com. That's just the account I use to send out the initial content for programs with the generated password in it. But look for that in your email. If you can't find it, send me a text or send me an email when you get an opportunity. surplusfundsriches.net. We have a contact us email on there. Best CRMs to contact people, valid numbers, etc., and your best CRM methods, or does mailers work best? So I'm sorry, I thought CRMs were contact management. So this context isn't making sense to me. Are you asking me what the best skip tracing programs are, Manna? If so, we like IDI data. We like using three at one time. Okay. I start with IDI data because it gives us the best hits on the actual claimant we're going after. If we can't get that, or we're getting, if it's kind of a thin file, we then do microbuild.com, because microbuild.com is kind of amazing, especially for the price. Not only is it pretty good, not quite as good as IDI data at finding the correct person, but really good at finding possible relatives and associates. And we use that. We also, believe it or not, think extremely highly of White Pages Premium, and for two reasons. So one is the information's really dead on. We've been surprised about that. Not quite as good as Microbuild or IDI, but pretty darn good. It's certainly not something stupid like Truth Finder and all that. Anyway, that's really good. But we also like the fact that you can do a reverse search for phone number by the address. Nobody does a good job on that as White Pages Premium. Nobody. And that works really good, especially with deed flips where the owners are not living in the property and they're renting it out. You'd be amazed how many people we reach that way indirectly through renters. It's just phenomenal. So I'm assuming, Manna, that you meant skip tracing, not CRM, because I thought CRM, and I may be incorrect, was like database contact management programs. All right, guys, it looks like it's slowing down. Is there anything else anybody would like to ask here? We can wrap this up. Not a bad turnout. Looks like that might be it, Jeff. Let me know what you're thinking on this. Guys, if you haven't already seen it too, if you got the email, definitely check out that testimonial from Freddie. That's phenomenal. Charles, I see a lot of bank-owned properties going to auction. What exactly should I be looking for? County foreclosures. Charles, I don't see a whole lot of bank-owned properties going to auction. Do you mean you see some mortgage foreclosures? Because those have never really stopped. If you're talking about mortgage foreclosures, on mortgage foreclosures, I would use Realty Track. I'd pay for that. I'm not sure that you've purchased anything that we have out there, because I think because you're kind of going in all directions. You know what I mean? The Game Changer program is what we did that handled mortgage foreclosure, but deed flip handles that too. I think you're saying bank-owned property when it's a mortgage foreclosure, but you can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't see a whole lot of bank-owned properties anymore. You saw bank-owned properties where nobody was buying stuff at the auction, right? Or if they knew they couldn't sell it and they're trying to fix it up a little bit and sell it. So I don't know what you're talking about with that. Do you need copies of mortgage for tax sales or just deeds? Do I need to do a title search for tax and mortgage foreclosure? If two people on a title, should there be $30,000 overage to submit for file or $15,000? Marie, you are all over the place. It's like 5 questions in one question. I'm going to have Jeff correct me if I'm wrong on this, but so if it's an unsatisfied mortgage, I believe we need to have a copy of that. Otherwise, we don't need it. Jeff, tell me if I'm wrong. Obviously, we need all the deeds. Do I need to do a title search for tax and mortgage foreclosures? You always search for debt. If you're talking about overages, we got to know. Deed flip too, you got to know if there's any other debt on there. If two people are on title, should there be $30,000 to submit file or 15? I'm going to let you ask that for Jeff. But usually I believe you turn it in as one file listing both deed holders, and we'll figure it out. But you put the total amount on there. It's one address, it's one file. It just happens to be two people on the deed, so that's one case. Good. I caught that right from Anna. He says, you're right. I meant skip tracing. Frank, can you please type your email on the chat? I got the results, and that's all I got. Frank, I already told you, I'm not trying to be difficult here. I can't put a second sticky up. If you just go to surplusfundsriches.net, download the file that's on here, the handout. Go to surplusfundsriches.net and click on Contact Us, and it's right on there. What is the second mentioned, microbilt? Is that correct? It's microbilt, MICROBILT. If you go to microbilt.com, click the link, guys. You're gonna get a replay of this. Call that company up. Ask for Randy Mostetler. Say, hey, Sean Bougie referred me. Sean Bougie, a good company, and I'd say Sean Bougie is going to know that right off the bat. We made a deal with him where he's not going to charge you your upfront startup fee. It's $200, and you can get rolling right away with Microbilt. Great company. Good question, man. Carol, what was the name of the person at Mike? Oh, good. Do you know anything about Oklahoma, Wilma? Yep. I mean, we've had overages turned in from there. I don't know what more to tell you. Just, guys, here's the deal. Doesn't matter where you are. Doesn't matter where you want to work. Wherever you get a list, work that. It's online from home. Don't get caught up. Here we go. Jeff put all the information in there. Boom. All right. Yeah. So Oklahoma, I mean, I don't think there'd be an issue there, but guys, don't get caught up in working where you are or an area that you think's hot. Just wherever you get a list, work it. T. Lewis. Hey, Sean, just confirming that I purchased the surplus program earlier this year. Due to the pandemic and COVID-related issues, I have not been able to work the program. I'm going to say this because I had a couple of people say that recently. It's the perfect program to work during a pandemic. Perfect. It was an entire year. Okay. Perfect program to work during a pandemic. There's no reason you're doing it online. You don't have to wear a mask. You know what I mean? All right. My question is, even though the price is going up in January, will be grandfathered to use my current. Guys, you can use your current program if you already got it. Just start using it. Okay. The only one that we got rid of, we had an old, this is back in the day, a surplus funds program that required you actually go into the courthouse to check, because that's how we wanted everything checked that way. But we got a lot more comfortable on finding other programs where we could check behind you. And we got a lot more comfortable with you working online. So we went to that program, and we kept the other one open, the go to the courthouse program. We kept it open for 2 years, taking any submissions, because of course everybody was smart enough to jump to the new one and take it. Your program is fine. We don't stop working a program unless, like something in that instance where it was no longer valid because you could work it from home online instead of going to the courthouse. And we hadn't had submissions in 2 years off that because everybody had bought the new one. What percentage of foreclosures have surplus funds owed to the owner? Breon, that's nuts. I have no idea. There are hundreds of billions of dollars in overages out there, tax and mortgage. Remember, we work tax and mortgage. But I can't even tell you that. I don't know what the percentage is. Right now, the percentage is pretty high, simply because of what's going on with the market, because they're selling, even obviously at auction right now, they're selling at auction for more money than a debt against the property. What is a good percent on pre-foreclosure agreement? Tim, I double my money. So when I look at a deed flip, let's say it's $10,000 in taxes. Let's say the the property's worth $100 in its current condition, not fixed up. I don't fix anything up. I flip it as is, whereas to investors, and I can sell cash in 2 weeks. I don't get into that aggravation. So let's say it's 10 grand in taxes, and let's say it's worth 100 in its current condition. I'm not going to pay the guy more than 40 grand cash. I'm not. Give him 40. Now here's how that's going to work. He's going to sign my quick claim deed with a mobile notary and a contract showing, hey, I'm willing to pay you this. And I tell him, look, I'm going to treat this like a real estate closing. If you don't want to do it this way, I'll hire an attorney, but I'm going to take the attorney's fees off of this. Here's the deal. You're going to send me a quick claim deed. I'm going to record that with the court. Once I see that I'm the only person you sold it to, and it's recorded at the court, then I'm going to turn around and pay off the taxes, stop the foreclosure. If they're in the property, I'll let them stay there for a month or two. You can stay there for a month or two. You got to be out by this date, or else it's $2,000 a day less I pay you. If they're in the property and I'm going to pay them 40 grand, I'd give them 4 of that up front. I'd give him the other 36 when he gets out, with the understanding if you are late getting out, and it'll be in the contract, For every day you're late, it's $2,000 less. I don't play with that. It's the only way they're going to get out. They were not afraid of the bank. They were not afraid of the county. They are not afraid of me. So I'm really tough on that, and you have to be. Again, to answer that, to answer that though is I like to double my money, and you're not going to have a problem doing that. The big thing is you've got to get, and we obviously handle all this on the back end if you're just doing a research portion of this for us. But you've got to get some kind of pictures. You've got to know what you're dealing with. We've had crazy stuff happen, and people. I know this is scary. I know it's crazy. People will lie to you. All right. There we go. Will there be another web class in December, Rochelle? Rochelle, you've got me a little concerned because I think you bought. This is not a web class. This is just a straight out question and answer. And then, of course, we have our support. Jeff handles that. He usually gets back in one business day, even though he has longer to do so. So you really don't need the webinar to succeed on the program. It's great because it does create a sense of community. People always ask a question that you didn't think of, which is fantastic. But it's not really a class. It's just wide open. I recently submitted a file. National Surplus Funds that was not on the current list and was not notified that another researcher had submitted the same file. What is the current turnaround time for submitted update file? This ebook says 2 or 3 business days, but it's been taken. No, Horace, that I know exactly what you're talking about, and I don't know how you missed it on the list, but it was on the list before you turned it in. Sorry, brother. It's just how, look, guys, just so everybody understands, we don't play favorites. Whoever turns it in correctly first, it gets onto our list. You can always view that list and check it out before you send in the file to us. There's no incentive for us to give a deal to somebody else. Say, oops, you turned it in, but it was after this guy. There's no incentive for us to do that. I'm sorry that you missed that on the list, but it happens occasionally. LOL, you don't have to wear a mask, but yes, it's the best time to work this business. I concur. It is fantastic, man. What percentage of foreclosures have surplus funds owned to the owner? Brianna, I think you asked that earlier, and I said I'm just not touching that because it's too weird. It's a higher percentage now, obviously, than before, but it's just too odd trying to figure that out. Guys, really good questions tonight. And sorry, I'm glad somebody laughed at that. You don't have to wear a mask thing. I wasn't trying to be a smart aleck. It's just when somebody says, "Man, COVID," I'm like, "Come on, what, even if you got it, how long were you down? Right, a month or two? What about the rest of the year? Come on, guys. If you bought the program, start working it, turn stuff in. It's really not that hard. If you've got any issues, get up with Jeff using the support as outlined in your ebook. He'll walk, he won't walk you through it. He's going to tell you to read the ebook. I read it at least twice for comprehension. But once you do that, put in the effort, put in the time, it shouldn't be an issue for you guys to figure this out and start rolling with it. I'm not seeing a whole lot here, Jeff. So let me check. You might have actually. I'm not seeing as many questions, I should say. I'm not trying to be rude, guys. I'm just checking something. I think, well put, I get it. Thanks, Tim. And then thanks again. Okay. I think we're done here, guys. I'm not seeing any new questions now for at least 5 minutes or so. 10 minutes. If you got something else you'd like to ask, please throw it at me. Again, end of this month, that's it. You won't be able to, if you're not a current member or if there's something you wanted to buy, you need to buy it now or else you're going to have to wait till January 1st. We are upping the cost of the vast majority of the bundles out there and some of the programs as well. So if you're on the fence, now's the time to get it. Jeff says wrap it up, and I'm going to wrap it up. Guys, if you have any questions, give me a call again, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday, 704 Eastern Time, I should say, 704-791-9398. Thanks.